doing okay? Good, hope you are. We're doing alright here, keeping it going. Realm of Chaos is finished. Well, okay, no, Realm of Chaos isn't finished, but I've got 6 models a month to do for the next 4 months, and spoiler alert, I'm going to get more than 6 models done a month. So it's not going to take me 4 months. So sorry to ruin your illusions. It might do. I mean, things may go crazy and I may only get 6 done a month. I have got other things to do after all, but probably isn't. So time to think about what I'm going to do next when this is over. I had a bit of a panic recently because I was just looking at my unpainted model shelves and going, oh, I've got to paint that, and I've got to paint that, and I've got to paint that. And to be honest, it made me really think, what am I doing here? You know, I've got stuff that I'm not super excited about, that it just feels like an absolute drain thinking that I've got to paint it. And I think, what am I doing? This is a hobby, you know. I should be excited about all the things that I do here. So I had a bit of a clear out, and I'm going to carry on having a bit of a clear out. I'm getting rid of all the stuff that I'm not excited about. So like I had a bunch of Aztecs that I was going to build into a big jungly army with some Amazons, and then I got around to assembling them and spraying them, and I thought, 100 Aztecs. I don't want to paint 100 Aztecs, and I've got no jungle scenery. I've got friends who've got jungle scenery, but I'm not going to make any jungle scenery. And I'm not really excited by it, so I ditched that. So I got rid of those, sold those on eBay. So I have got a few things now whittled down that I definitely want to get done. But the first thing that I want to do is finish some of the things that I've started and haven't got around to completely finishing. So some things have got a couple of models left. Some things have got a few units, some things are just really down to basing to finish them off. So I want to get those completely finished. So my first thing that I want to do when I have done my Realm of Chaos stuff is I want to go back to my Great Spined Dragon diorama. He's in here at the moment with my Eadworm and my little Water Leaper and a couple of young dragons. And I've got some adventurers that I want to put into the diorama, and I finally got around to turning this Halloween glow-in-the-dark skull that I bought into a base for the dragon to sit in. So that's going to be a big diorama project, but I've mostly done the dragons. They've been sat in an almost painted state for quite a long time now, a number of years, and I'm kind of pretty excited to get back and finish those guys off and do a real, you know, old school crazy fantasy dragon diorama. So that's going to be one for the blog, and I think that's the first thing I'm going to do after my Realm of Chaos stuff is finished. There's a bit of a palette cleanser, just a short self-contained project, and then that's finished. I also need to put a banner, paint the banner for my Dark Elf diorama. That I haven't done yet. That might happen at the same time, I don't know, maybe not. But then it's, which army do I work on getting finished next? So here's where I'd like some input from you. What should I work on? What do you think I should work on next? I'm going to give you the options and tell you where I am with them. So I have a desert high elf army here, an Egyptian themed high elf army, that are a mix of the Island of Blood plastic high elves and the Lord of the Rings Lord of the Rings elves, Elrond's elves from the box set, and some War Gods of Egyptus Basti warriors, and in fact some Keltos She stuff in there as well. And I've got I've got the Illyrian Reavers from the Island of Blood set that I haven't painted up yet, the Mage that I have painted up but don't really like, so I might swap him out for something else or just leave him out entirely, and about a dozen more Keltos She and War Gods Basti, and a couple of the Sobek Crocodile type guys to do. So that hopefully wouldn't be too long a project to get those finished, and I want to rebase these but they're all on MDF bases, so it should be quite quick and easy to rebase them, I would think, especially as they're probably going on sand, even though that doesn't really fit with with the terrain that I've got. I think I probably will put them back on sand. Who knows? Maybe I'll mix it up a little bit. Sandy dunes, maybe put a bit of greenery in there, just to not jar too much with the rest of my terrain. And yeah, so my big problem with these guys is that I didn't write down the recipe when I was doing the skin tone and the armour for these guys. So I've got to go back to the paints that I had then, which was all the Vallejo stuff that I mostly just use their inks now. I need to find the paints that I used for painting these guys, and try and replicate these paint jobs. So that's my big concern with going back to these guys, and the reason I haven't gone back to them to finish them off is that I'm not totally confident that I can match in the style and the colours, but that's one thing to try and get finished. So that's the first option. My Egyptian High Elves is the first thing that I can start work on. The second thing is my Barbarians, who are almost entirely finished. There's a Shaman model from Alternative Armies, and 6 Sword Maiden figures to do, and then they're done. So it's 7 figures to paint and base for that army to get that completely finished. So that's the second thing that I could do, and I have got all the notes for doing those guys, so I could do that. I could finish my Barbarians off, and hopefully that wouldn't be too long a project. Right, let's go over here. Okay, next thing that started but not finished is my sort of non-green skin Orcs and Goblins army that I painted back for the game at the beginning of 2020. And sorry, my cat's being noisy. He's been by himself for a couple of days and he's very sad. So he's very demanding of my time at the moment. So I need to go and stroke him in a bit. But we'll finish this video first. So I painted these for a game at the beginning of 2020 that we just got in before craziness happened, and the army was done at that point. But my big orcs here, my unit of big chunky orcs, are the Fantasy Warlord figures that were previously available from SHQ Miniatures. I think Scottish Grendel have purchased them now, taken them in-house, but after finishing this army, I managed to pick up another bunch in an eBay lot. So I've got, what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 12 more giant orcs to add to this unit, plus an orc boss from Royal Path of Europe, plus a couple of the Lone Wolf Gaiacs from Miniature Figurines, I think, do them, to add into my Goblin unit. So I've got 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got 16 models to add in here, and again I've got paint recipes, so I can do this fairly easily. It's just getting the motivation to do it. So that's another thing that I could do next. I could finish off this army. Then we go over here. Here's option 4, my final army, my undead army, which is almost entirely done except for a few things. I haven't finished and assembled the chariots with their crew. I haven't finished painting this unit of Keltos skeletons that I acquired after I'd painted everything else up. I want to add more shading and highlights and weathering to the barding on my cavalry here. I need to add decoration to the robes of these monks, undead monks of La Maison Tal, and then everything here is based on snow, because I based it up for that big snowboard that I did for the Terror of the Lichmaster campaign. I like it being on snow, but I think I want to not necessarily rebase, but add in a bit of greenery and some bare patches of earth where the snow is melted, so that it doesn't look quite so different to the rest of my terrain. I'm kind of okay with the idea that wherever the undead army marches, the ground freezes underfoot. I think that works quite nicely. But I do want to add some greenery in, so it's not quite so square and jarring with the rest of the train. So that's going to be a fairly significant task because there's a lot of bases to do here. So this is a bigger project. This is probably the biggest of the projects to get done. But I also really want to get this army finished and displayed properly. So we've got 4 options there. What sort of floats your boat? What's your pick? What's your fancy? This one is going to be the biggest project to do, but it's also kind of the project that I would like to see finished the most. Next to that is going to be the Egyptian High Elf army, and then the barbarians are going to take the least amount of time to finish, and the orcs are going to be second to that. So maybe I could just get the barbarians done very quickly in a couple of weeks, and then I could get the orcs done, and that will probably take a month, and then I could get the Egyptian elves done, and that would probably take me, I could probably do that in a month, but let's be realistic, it's going to be 2 months, and then I could get my undead army done in the rest of the year. So I could do that, especially as I'm going to be driven to work towards this, but I have got my Snotling army that I want to get out and actually get working on as well. I'm quite fired up about that. I've got some new Empire things that I want to add to my Empire army. I've got all the lovely troll models that I want to paint. So am I going to be able to string it to October without doing those things that are really fun and that I want to do now in April? I don't know, especially as the weather gets colder and I lose the opportunity to prime things. I don't know. Anyway, let's take one step at a time. What do you think? What do you think I should start with? And let's see where it goes after that. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week. Take care.